So, welcome back, everyone, to Hoops and Harmony, hosted by Sylvia and Ebony.
I am Sylvia.
I am Ebony.
And this is episode 5, right?
Four.
I'm sorry.
Take a little step back. There you go. Going forward real quick.
Going ahead of myself. Yeah. Episode 4.
And we are two hoop wearing Latinas.
Harmonizing with the world.
Woo. Are you fucking being Mary J. fool? So, how's everything been going so far?
Good. I was telling Jordan that I'm finishing up some stuff at work. It's been really, really good, you know. And yesterday I went to well, we talked about this yesterday.
We did talk about it yesterday.
But I went to USC for my admitted student orientation.
Get it, Trojan.
Fight on. That's what they do. They do this. That's what they do. So anyways, yesterday I didn't know what to expect. This week has been very like hectic for me because I've just been doing a lot, like just going and like doing a lot. So that's kind of one like the things that like has happened, and like I don't know, like it's crazy because so when I accepted so let me backtrack.
Back. Little step is back.
Yeah, let me backtrack. So when on Friday, yesterday was my my new student orientation, and I went and I didn't know what to expect. They sent us a fucking email telling us like you could do this if you're flying here, because a lot of people came from out of state, like da da da, right? So in that email, it says, please be business casual.
Whatever that means.
I don't know if you ever met. Well, I know you know, but for me, I don't know what business casual is. I don't like it. I've and you know this, like I've always had a thing with how I dress. It's always been an issue about how I dress.
Yeah.
I feel like people see it as an issue.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an issue.
It's not. I mean, I don't, and I think that's the one that we talked about this actually. We talk about it a lot, is trying to change that. Even in the work environment, and trying to change it everywhere else to be like, I don't have to look like this. Like I could literally just like literally back to hoops, right? We're like, oh, people think like, oh, we're wearing big ass hoops to
We're
work.
hoes.
Like, yeah, it's like no, we're wearing hoops because
Or we're
one, it
ghetto.
looks cute. Yeah, ghetto. I think that's the biggest one. And long nails, like hoops and long nails.
Hold on.
Yes.
I hate. No, I'm not gonna say hate. That's a strong word, and I don't hate nothing.
Take it back.
Hold on. I really do not like. I do not subscribe.
So do not do this.
I don't like when people tell me
What do
like,
you do with those long ass nails?
How can you wipe your ass?
Oh, that's a big
How do you wipe
one, huh? How do you do that?
How do you wipe your ass? You wipe your ass with your nails?
Right.
You do that? You wipe your ass with your nails? Okay. Well, I don't. I wipe my hand with my hand.
Right.
Please,
Literally.
shut your mouth.
Right.
Oh, that shit pisses me off.
So stop it.
For real, please.
No more, please. I have to be real aggressive.
I have to be, yeah, and I'm just like, oh, but those are the little microaggressions I
Literally,
get. I
literally.
always get like, remember the time we went to Rolling Loud?
Yeah.
And we went into Target and I was wearing my shorts. And then the lady was like, oh, you're not cold? And I smiled at her and I'm like, no.
Which was really her little microaggression to saying, like, why are you wearing those little
ass shorts?
Yeah, I know.
You want to give me your sweater? You want to buy me some sweats?
Right.
So shut up.
Right.
Oh, that
literally.
Oh, how do we get
Hello,
there? That really pisses me off. Like when people do microaggressions, I'm like
just let people
I'm
be.
real
Let
PC
people
though.
wear where the fuck they want.
I'm real
like,
PC though. Like I can be like, okay.
Yeah, but deep down you're like, bitch, I'm gonna fuck you up. Right
You know Lizzie McGuire. You know Lizzie McGuire when she had the little girl running around, like
her
real, like
the
her real thought,
Lizzie?
like her real thoughts. That's me.
Yeah.
The little girl's just running around.
The little devil, the little
fucking
angel.
bitch. But anyways, so
yeah.
So anyways, so that's what happened. So it says business casual.
Right.
So I show up. I did not know. I did not read business casual. So
Uh-huh.
I showed up. I showed up with my Tupac shirt.
Yes.
My biker shorts.
Yes.
I wore my what else? Oh, I wore some sandals.
Get it authentic.
Literally, I just showed up and I'm like, oh, this is me comfortable. We're gonna probably walk around.
And you were there all day.
We were there all day. And I'm like, why am I gonna be wearing? So I showed up and everybody was suits,
Fuck
really really
that.
fancy. Like everybody was gonna go to an interview,
And it
and
was
I
nice weather, like to like it was
it was
sunny,
really
like it
cute.
was
My outfit
really
was really
good
cute for the way
for
that
the
it
weather.
was.
Yeah.
So I ended up showing up, and like honestly, like I didn't feel insecure up until I sat with that girl. So there was this girl that I sat down with. She was
Mm.
wearing this blue thing, and she was like, "Oh, like yeah." In the email, it said like business casual.
She told you
One of the
that?
that's how
Oh,
I
you didn't tell
knew.
me that
That's how I
yesterday.
knew. Yeah. So she's like,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, honestly, like, but me being the rebel, I think inside of me,
Yeah.
I was like, well, honestly, I really don't care. Like,
Right.
are they gonna kick me out? Can they take away my my admissions to USC? Can they do
I'm
that?
already here.
Literally, I said that to her, but I was being like, cool, because she was another Latina, right? Like,
Mm.
there was only 4 Latinas in this whole event.
Mm-hmm.
Let me.
Yeah, I
Well,
remember.
we talked
Yeah.
about it. There was only 4 Latinas. It was that girl, and then and then 2 other girls, and then me.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever or maybe there was other Latinas. I just didn't see that. It didn't,
Right.
you
It
know,
didn't feel like that.
yeah, you could tell when someone's
Or they
Latina.
were, but they weren't being that. Like that they weren't being their true self. Like they were
That
just kind
girl,
of like
girl in the blue suit. So this girl,
damn blue suit girl.
so she was like telling me, and I was telling her about my experience. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to Chicago. And then I was telling her because she's from Chicago. She's like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to Chicago in May. And she's like, oh, Chicago. And then I'm like, yeah, Chicago, Illinois. She's like, Illinois is a state. And I was like, yeah.
Okay.
Like it was so weird. But
She
anyways,
tried to make you feel stupid.
she was just giving me vibes. She was giving me these vibes. And I was like,
I
all
don't
right,
like
girl.
that.
But
You
so
should have told her,
I felt
"Oh, call my
insecure.
friend over."
I felt insecure, and then that's when you texted me.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, thank you for that reminder. Because I was feeling insecure. I was feeling insecure a little bit. And I was like, oh, that's why I really meant it. Like it meant a lot when you sent me that text, because I was like, oh,
So
like,
when I text you in the morning, you were already there?
yeah,
Oh.
I was having
I thought you were still
breakfast.
getting ready.
No, I was having breakfast.
Oh.
So, and I was sitting across the, so God really told me, like, it's okay. Keep going. Keep going today. Literally all day, it was from 8 a.m. to like 5 p.m.
Mhm.
And all day, God reminded me, it's okay. Keep going. You're worth it. You're
Mhm.
worthy to be here.
Right.
Because, and so one of the girls at the end of the panel, one of the last people that spoke to us, she said, like, you might feel, she was a Latina. She's like, you
Mhm.
might feel like an imposter. You might feel like you don't belong here. You might feel like people, but you do.
Yes.
You belong here. And I was like, yes, I do.
And honestly, fool, that's one of the reasons why I text you that, because I was just like, I know it's gonna be like, I know you're gonna feel like it's gonna be okay, but I text you that because I know it's like, one, it's USC, so we already know what USC comes with, and the fact, like, just to reassure you that like you do belong there, like as much as how many people are there and like what they look like or whatever, like you do, like you belong there, and don't allow them to tell you otherwise, like,
Yeah.
or allow them to push you back and make you feel like no, I
Mm-hmm.
don't belong there, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people play their part, like it's
Yeah.
just putting up a front, and it's like,
Literally.
no, I don't need to put up a front. I'm here, I got accepted here, and I look like this, so what, you know?
Literally, I reaffirmed myself all day, and I wrote down some affirmations to myself before I went, and it was to stay curious, to stay faithful, that I am supposed to be here, and to be a fucking warrior.
Hmm.
Cause I'm not carrying just me. I'm carrying you. I'm carrying my family. I'm carrying all the babies that I work with, and they're not
Your
babies.
community.
They're not babies. They're big boys,
Yeah.
and girls. But I'm
You're
carrying
you're
them.
pre- you're representing something
I'm
there,
representing something so much bigger,
for sure.
because a lot of the kids that we work with, they don't know that they fit in these spaces.
Hmm.
And I'm here in this space. So I had to like really just showcase them, and I think that pushed me a lot. And it was so uncomfortable, and it was so like I just want to leave. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? I don't belong here. I kept, it was the
This
doubt.
little blub in the back of your mind.
And then I was like, no, I belong here. And then when I was like in those moments, after breakfast, like after that girl like did that, we went into another room, and and then I sat in. It was for financial aid, so I
Mhm.
had sat in the front because everybody was sitting in the back. So I
Mhm.
had sit in the front with one girl. There was one girl in the front, and I was like, I'm gonna sit with her. I like her. She looks good. Like she did look. She looked really good. Like she was she looked Latina. She was wearing like these beautiful earrings. And I was like, oh, hi, like my name is Sylvia. Because everybody there is just like connecting. And I was really trying to make my effort to put myself out there because that's not something that I knew how to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, hi, my name is da-da-da. And then she's like, Sylvia. And then she's like, oh, da-da-da, my name is da-da-da. And then I was like, okay. And then, so we ended up talking about how me and her are both in like, we're very interested in like re-entry, like minors coming back
Yes,
into
yes, yes, yes.
re-entry. And so I was like, oh, that's so cool. She's like, yeah, like, isn't that crazy? And then just everything kind of fell into place. Like she was basically doing some of the same stuff I was doing. And like, I was like, man, that is so crazy. Like, I'm so thankful that I met you, you know, because I felt so alone. Because
Mm.
honestly, prior to that panel, I was in another panel where they tell you about the program, and there was a lot, a lot of like white people. And let me tell you about breakfast. Let me tell you about breakfast because
Let me tell you about the bacon.
hold on, because I didn't. So then there was this other girl that came to sit with me in blue suit,
Uh-huh.
right? So someone
That we straight gave her name,
she
huh?
was wearing
Blue
it was a
suit.
baby blue suit. So she came to sit with us, and she's from Chicago, right? Another
Mhm.
girl from I think Maryland. I don't know where she was from. But anyway, she was telling me how like she was like, oh yeah, like I came to do an analysis on housing. So
Mhm.
she basically wants to do like the numbers when it comes to housing in LA,
Mm.
specifically in LA.
Mhm.
She's like, well, the housing over there is a market, but I want to do it over here because it's so much more and you can get more out of it and da 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 da. And
Mhm.
I'm like, okay. So she's talking about these numbers, right? She's telling me about these numbers. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, and what are the numbers? And she's like, well, the people in the community. I'm like, oh. I'm like, you know what's crazy? And I told you
Mm.
this yesterday, and it sticks with me. I'm like, you know what's crazy? I'm like, when higher ups talk to me about my clients
Numbers,
and they
yeah.
tell me, oh, 2654333, and then I'm like, oh, you mean,
This name? Right. Because they
oh,
have a
you mean,
name.
and then they'll be like, okay. Or like to me, it's like, I'm like, they're not numbers.
They're not.
You know what I mean? They're not numbers.
But we're often looked at as
As
numbers.
numbers.
Yeah.
So there's this woman from I don't know where the fuck she's from, right? Coming to California,
Fucking blue
coming
suit.
to LA, trying to tell us about numbers,
Right.
about me,
About
about my
right.
numbers, right? And I'm like, that's crazy. And then she was like, oh, like, and then when I was telling her about like my
Mhm.
client, that my experience,
Right.
because I told her in a very PC way. Like I
Mm.
wasn't trying to. I was just like, oh, okay, well, da 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 da. And I'm like, that's so crazy, right? And then she's like, oh, like bringing the humanity back to it.
Duh. Pff, we're humans. Like, we're not just fucking numbers out here.
Literally, and that blew my mind. I'm like, how many people are in these levels where they get to say, yes, you can come into housing, yes, you can get this affordable thing, yes, you can get these things, and then and then there are the people that don't even understand us,
Literally.
and then at the end we did talk to some professors at USC who really had a great vision. It was a great vision. I really see like them. They're like, although we are doing research in this community, and I wanted to ask, and I think I still have this question, but it'll come. Like, you're doing research on these communities, right? For transportation, for environmental issues, for health issues in like these like urban communities, right? And so what do you do with this data? How do the people follow up with this data? How do the people in the community have access to this data, right? And I think
Mhm.
that and I think that's what the questions that I wanted to provide. And I really want to push that narrative when I'm at USC. And I think USC does a great job of allowing me to speak.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I think I hope that's my hope. That's my intention. I think that that's truly what I see at USC. That's what I saw yesterday.
Mhm.
That even though there are these people, I was the one that I felt like people gravitated towards the most.
Mhm.
You know?
You're putting yourself out there with
But I
like
look
an
very different
intention.
because
Right.
everybody was in literally everybody was in. And so at the end, like I ended up just to two people like that I
You stuck
networked
with.
with, which were the two Latinas that
Right.
that were there. And we shared the same experience, and they're both from LA. You know what I mean? And I think they also felt at a place. So also God let me know, like, hey, you're not alone. You're gonna be
Yeah.
okay. Keep going.
Yeah.
Commit. And so yeah, so I am now committed to USC.
Woohoo!
for my master's program in nonprofit and leadership management. I'm
Yes.
excited.
I'm so proud of you, friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, and literally like it's just that like I think this breaking that what is it? Like what's the word I'm looking for? Um not curse, just breaking that
Or
cycle of like, you have to look like this in order to like be better or like look like
and
or be presented as higher ups
and
or
you know
things
what?
like that. Like, no, I don't. I know my shit and I look like this. Like, that's it. And that's that.
Literally, because some people were talking to me and like they thought like, oh, do you know what that means? And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Right. But their first thoughts were like, "Oh, you look like that. You don't know nothing, or you don't know this, or you don't know that." And it's like, and then when you come at them and you're like, "Actually, da 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 da, I do know this and that," and like, they're kind of like, "Oh, okay," and it's like, "Yeah, we could look like this, we could look like that," and doesn't mean we don't know our shit.
Uh
Like
huh.
we do.
And then even at the end, I was feeling a little bit like the girl, one of the Latina girls that I had met there, she was like, oh, like she's like, you look great, by the way, and I'm like, thank you so much.
And you got a lot of compliments for your
I
shirt.
did. I got a couple of them, and from like other people like, oh, it's that Pog, and then some other guy was like, hey, like I love your shirt, and I'm like, cool. So like,
Yeah.
so that real, I'm telling you, all day I was being reaffirmed, and then at the
Yeah.
end she was like, you know what, you know who made up business casual? White people made up business casual. So if that's your business casual, then be that your business casual.
Right.
Because I feel like one day when we do these greater things, I still want to dress like me.
Right.
I don't want to look and I don't want to feel uncomfortable.
Mm.
I'm talking about greatness. Just kidding.
Look at my fresh ass shoes, right? Fresh out the box with the sticker. Bringing it back, fool. Nah, they're
Dude,
really fresh though.
these
They're
okay,
really fresh.
but white Converse are so like they just. I mean, white Converse, yeah, white Converse, Vans, and Air Forces are probably one of my favorite whites.
Whites, yeah.
Oh my god.
Fresh white shoes. Fool. Remember those times in fucking in high school, like when you're going back to school, so you get like your new stuff or like you get your fresh ass shoes, and you're like, they're so fresh. Like you don't even
Oh,
want to mess them
hold
up.
on. Do you
Uh,
you know what one of my favorite things is? Dodger games.
oh,
Do you know why?
Why?
Because there's guys that
Ah! With the
oh,
fresh ass shoes and with the blue. Oh, fool, you're right. You're right.
I'm excited
with the
for Dodger
fresh ass
games.
jerseys.
With the I'm so excited for Dodger
Go to
games.
all the games.
I love, you know what I love? I love
But we're there to watch the games. We're here to watch the games too.
okay.
I am. Fool. I
Um,
like the games.
I like the game, so I like I like
Yeah.
softball. I like I like football. I love watching
I
football
like
games.
soccer.
I love watching soccer games. The Dodgers are the best. Anyways,
I like when they kick the ball.
yeah, no, baseball's pretty one of my favorite sports.
Yeah.
Baseball and basketball, and football. The good thing is that when I was working after school programs, I for sure learned like a lot about
The
sports.
sports.
But yeah, Dodger games. I'm so excited.
Nah.
I love watching. I love seeing a guy with like a great jersey with like a little gold.
You like the gray jerseys?
a great jersey?
Oh, great! I thought you said the gray jerseys.
Even the black
the black and
ones,
white ones are pretty fresh.
The Dodger
Nah,
ones
they
with
are
like a
pretty
gold
fresh.
little chain,
Yeah.
some great pants or shorts, and then
Yeah.
the shoes.
But the white jerseys from classic white jerseys, those are good.
Great.
With some nice blue shoes and some 501s. Ah! We're just out here putting our imaginations together. Close your eyes.
That's not my imagination. That is true life. I've seen it in person.
Well, yeah, we've seen it in person plenty of times, but right now we have to vision it. We
Yeah,
just
yeah.
vision.
We'll be there
We'll
one
go
day.
tap into our dreams. Is this a dream?
This is a dream.
Or is it reality? No, it's reality. Come true.
That's funny.
But yeah, going back to the fucking or for when like just in general, like fresh ass shoes, I think always make a big difference in like even your outfits or like things like that. But I remember like in high school, and I used to bring out those fresh, brand new shoes. I didn't want anybody to mess them up. Don't touch my shoes.
But you're good about shoes.
Sometimes.
Like I haven't seen you wear those shoes in a
Sometimes.
while.
Yeah, I do have a lot of shoes. Shout out these Converse. I mean, these Converse, these Cortez, these Cortez, because I've
They're
had them for a
respectful.
minute. I've had them for a minute, and they're really cute. So I do bring out my shoes like certain occasions, or like I pick and choose like when I'm gonna wear them. And if I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna go a little basic today, I just throw on my Converse or my Vans or whatever.
You remember in college we would
Just throw on some sweats and a sweater, and we're out.
sweat, sweater, some slides.
Some slides, literally.
Sli-
Dude, I remember, I had a friend that would just be like, "You're always wearing your slides all chancluda." I'm like, yes. In high
Fool.
school too, because I didn't want to dress because we're like, I remember like we had games, and I was like, I don't want to fucking dress and then have to get dressed again for the games. And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go to fucking school in my softball stuff and my chanclas, and there. Like, I'm ready to fucking go to this game after. Like, but you were saying
No, I was just saying like I think that that's how we dressed all the time, and
literally.
like they would come and well, honestly in high school I didn't wear sandals because I didn't like showing my toes.
Oh, I wore them with my socks because I
Yeah,
was like just ready
but
to
I
go.
think now I'll wear sandals without socks. But anyways, in college like I feel like that was our uniform.
Literally.
Arturo will still tell us, "Hey, but like, what's up with
You
the
guys
chanclas?" I'm like,
you guys just don't get ready to come.
He would shower. He would shower like straight up shower. 7 a.m. classes. He was showered and ready, and I'm like,
Hair
dude,
done, fucking fresh shirt, like
crispy too. I'm like,
I mean,
fool.
don't get me wrong, cool. Like, I mean, that's cool.
That's just
Like,
not my
it's
life,
cool.
Arturo.
But I'm just like, first of all, I'm tired from the day before. I'm get up, roll out of bed, out of here. Like,
Well,
we
when
come
we're
back and then get ready, go to work, and then go back to
that
school.
was literally
Actually,
all Cal
go
State
back to
LA,
school,
huh?
huh?
When we were in Cal State LA, that was it. It was we would get up, and I think we were very lucky because we got 7 a.m. classes, or yeah, about
Well, we
seven
tried. Like, that was our point to get them
seven
all
to
done.
12.
Yeah,
It was 7 to 12 Monday through Thursday. We had that scheduled for about 2 years.
literally.
Um, and we took all of our classes together, and I think that was so much fun. And also
And
like,
carpool.
yeah, carpool. We did a lot of like,
We didn't even pay for parking.
we never paid for parking. We parked on the
So
like,
sorry, residential people, but we were pretty broke at the time.
yeah.
We just found parking. We did what we had to do. We were there for only the amount of years we had to go. So
That was it. You got your parking
you
back.
got your parking back. We're not there no more.
Yeah, literally. I honestly I do think about how much we saved like doing those things, like working together. Like
Literally.
yesterday when I was at the USC thing, the girl was like, "Oh yeah, I used to pull all nighters," and I'm like,
Mm-mm. Fuck that.
never.
Nah.
9 p.m. I was
Nah.
out that fucking library. I was not sitting there with you.
Hell
And we
no.
went to school with people that were like up on. I'm gonna stay here.
No. I'm not
Okay,
gonna fucking be here all
okay,
night.
do your
But
thing.
also, we didn't procrastinate that much. We
No.
were really on it. Like, we were really like, all right, so we have this due next week. Like, we're gonna start on it little by little.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take some days to kind of like just okay, do a little bit here, do a little bit there. So by the time the assignment was due, it was like, all right, we have it done. Or
Mm-hmm.
even if we got it done before, like we were able to review it or things like that. Like, it wasn't. I don't think procrastination wasn't our thing because we literally
Mm-hmm.
did not want to do that. And I remember I had a coworker that would always procrastinate. I'm like, dude, I go, why do you do that to yourself? Like, yeah, and then the next day, like, he'll come to work and he'll be like, oh, I'm fucking tired. Like, I need and I'm like, but you do it to
But that's
yourself.
normalized. Over doing like all nighters is normalized.
It is very normal.
Even by teachers. Like teachers will tell you like, oh, don't do da da
Don't
da.
procrastinate.
And I'm like, but or they'll be like, we don't want you guys to do the what is it called, like the overnights. Make sure you guys are not staying up all night. But it's like you're. I don't know. Also, I feel like I don't know. For me, I feel like in high school, I was always taught to just do
Mm,
go to class, do this, just get it done. Get it
mm-hmm,
done, get it done, get it done. Whatever. I'm not learning. I don't think like necessarily learned something. I think the one time I learned was probably in Crabtree's class.
mm-hmm,
She taught me really how to read and
mm-hmm,
how to, not that I didn't know how to read, but really read. Like
mm-hmm,
get the message, write it down, like journal what's going on in the story rather than just like reading to read, right?
mm-hmm,
She taught me how to like read to be intentional about what the information is coming
mm-hmm,
from. And yeah, and then I think in college I was just reading to read.
Mhm.
Okay, this is information, da da da. Like I was just learning. I was just what we were doing just to do. And that's why we finished so fast. We
Yeah.
finished without intention, without really sitting with the material and really like intaking. We
Mhm.
just kind of like flew by that shit because
Mhm.
we
But I think certain classes we did, like we kind of pulled like really this like the material, some material we did kind of
oh
keep
yeah,
with. And I think it had to do a lot with the professors, like, you know, specific professors like really allowed you to really think about the material and think about what it is they're teaching
I
us in
agree.
the classes. So I but yeah, some of it was just like I'm just here, and like the environmental, was it the environmental justice
But
class?
environmental justice, I feel like I wanted to do more there.
Yeah, but the because like the professor we had, like it just didn't feel like, if we had maybe Nuno in like environmental justice, like maybe it would have been a whole different ball game, because I think with Nuno what he did a lot was bring in his perspectives and like his like personal stories or things like that
You know what I regret about college was not being engaged with my
as
professors.
much.
Cause I was, cause remember you're saying like 7 to 12, we were out by like 1.
Yeah,
We were out by like 1. We're going. We
yeah.
went home. We got ready for
Work.
work and we left
And then went to work and then went back to school and
in the
study.
morning, and then
Yeah.
or we would study after school.
Yeah.
So we weren't necessarily like, oh, I'm gonna go to my office hours or I'm gonna stay after class to talk to my professor, because we were back to back to back to back.
Right.
Like we weren't necessarily like, and I think that's what I regret. Because even when I had to ask Nuno for a letter of recommendation a while
Mhm.
ago, he was like, I knew he would do it for me, but
Mhm.
I also didn't have a relationship with him, and it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right because he doesn't
Mm.
really know me. He's just
Mhm.
kind of doing it to do it, because he
Mhm.
wants me to succeed. And I just think that that's how Nuno's personality is. And I think that, but I wish that like I would have really networked. I really knew how to
Mm.
do it. And I just think, I don't know, maybe it's just in me. I don't know about you, but like, why do you feel like, like it's hard for, or it was hard for us at that time to network, like learn to really ask questions or really engage with the professors?
Well, I as far as like, I think as far as like being able to stay after hours and like and network in those spaces, I think it was hard because we literally were like that, like we talked about before, it was just in and out, in and out. Like we didn't have time. There wasn't a lot of time to really like, okay, I gotta, you know, I don't have work. So like I feel like if we didn't have work, a part-time job, like maybe we'll be able to use those hours, because the times we worked were like literally from either like 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock, you know, or 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And it's like we had those little gap times to go home, get ready,
Yeah.
eat, or whatever it is we needed to do, even probably homework,
Yeah.
and then go to class. And then at 6 o'clock, 6:30 to like 7 o'clock, we would go back to school to do what? To study or do more work or do essays or things like
Yeah.
that. So I think it's because we had a job in place, and the job in place obviously it was part-time, but it was a specific hours. So by the time it was 6 o'clock hit,
Yeah.
professors weren't home, weren't, I mean
We were
not home,
also
we weren't
supervisors
there.
at our job.
Yeah.
We were doing after school, and like there was a lot of paperwork to do.
Yeah, there
There
was
was more
paperwork.
there was more responsibility. And so I feel like even after college, that's when I learned how important networking is.
Yeah, it
Because
is
it taught
important.
me it taught me like to keep relationships with those people that really stick with you, like that really feel like, okay, like they really trust me, they really believe in me. I learned that all through work. I
Mhm.
don't necessarily feel like I learned it at school.
Mhm.
I learned it in like the real world. I learned how to really engage with people, how to keep my relationships and be like, okay, how can you help me later on? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I think that I didn't see that at school. I felt like, because coming from Lincoln to Cal State LA, I felt like, because you know how you get this in high school, your teachers are your fucking enemies. Like you don't fuck with them.
Yeah.
You don't
Some of
really.
them, yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel like I fucked with a lot of them.
Mm.
Only maybe a couple I know.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we were engaged with Nuno. And we
Mhm.
were engaged with Maria. And we were engaged with Bobby. To the extent.
To an extent. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think that we didn't go to their office
Office
hours or
hours.
like, hey, do you have any internships? Are you doing any
Well,
research that I can
actually, I
support
know
you with?
Nuno did have an internship,
Mm.
and I was interested in it, and like I did want to do it, But I think what kind of stopped me from doing it was one, the hours, it didn't work with my work schedule, and then two, like it was a pretty good drive. Like it was out
Was
there
that the
in
prison?
yeah. It was I was out there, so I was like that's kind of far. Like one, I just thought about gas. My car wasn't as reliable. I had to work.
Yeah.
So like things like that, and I think that kind of like put that little barrier for me to be like, well, I can't really do like I do want to do this internship, but at the same time, like I have to work. Like, I have to like,
Yeah,
you
we just
know?
honestly, I just think we didn't know the importance of
Yeah.
building relationships. Because
Yeah.
again, I think we've said it before. Like me and you were crutches for each other. So as long as we had each other, we didn't
We
need
were
nobody
good,
else.
right.
We don't need your help. We don't need tutoring. We don't need. We just have each other.
Right.
And I think that if I was doing it by my like right now, I feel like I'm gonna go into USC by myself. you
Mm.
know so I have to build those relationships. I really want to, though. I really know
Mhm.
how to now. I
Mhm.
really know how to create relationships. I really know how to, or maybe I don't know exactly everything, but I know like like what I need. I know that I can ask for help. I
Right.
know that I can ask questions like, what does this mean?
Right.
Like, and how do I do this? Or I'm not really understanding that, or push against certain things. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And I think that's what I'm looking forward to doing. And I think I really took that in from like working.
Mhm. I think also it just goes back to like even like our K through 12 experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like our K through 12 experience didn't really like I mean, yeah, of course, we learned the basics, but it didn't
I learned
really
how to do
teach.
drill team.
Yeah, that too. But you learn your basics, your math, your English, your white history, your like
White
fucking
history. I love it.
yeah, like your
I love
white
white
history,
history.
like, and it's like, I guess it's cool, like to learn about these things or whatever, but
Oh
it's
my
like,
god! In elementary, did you ever learn about the Niña, the Santa Maria and the Pinta or whatever? When they,
mm-mm,
I remember when I went to elementary, there was this lady who would come in every Thanksgiving, and she
mm-hmm.
would give us what the pilgrims ate.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And then afterwards, I'm like, that's fucked up. Like we really were getting this meal that the pilgrims were fucking eating.
So what are you calling me?
What are you
What are you trying to say?
and they would make us make the bandanas, the pilgrim bandanas. Like they didn't fucking just murder all of us. Like we were just chilling. Like it's insane what they would do to us.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember like that experience, or I
I
don't
remember
remember
that. I
I don't
remember.
remember a lot of like those like I don't remember. Sometimes I think about I'm like, what did I really learn in school? Like my K through 12 experience, besides the boring basics, math, English. But even then, like English and math, like I had to do remedial classes in college. So did I really
Oh
learn? So did I really
yeah.
learn like a lot of things? And obviously to an extent it wasn't, I can't be like it was your fault completely. Like no, obviously like
Ali,
I could take accountability for
yeah.
that. But obviously too, like we weren't being taught like above and beyond. Like it wasn't above and beyond being taught specific things, cuz now I have, my siblings, like I have some siblings like that they're learning so much more things that I'm like, "Oh, you're learning that already?" And then they're like, "Yeah, like, oh, we're learning this." And I'm like, "Oh," and they're pretty good at it. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, like that's cool." But that's the difference. Like, because public schools and private schools, obviously they're two
Oh
totally
yeah.
different
Oh
experiences.
yeah.
So I'm like, but that's good. Like, obviously we're here to progress. Like, that's the
But I just
point,
think
you
school is
know?
not for everybody.
Oh no,
School,
of
cause,
course.
cause even sometimes, I was talking to my cousin actually a couple of day of like last weekend. He came over and he was telling me he's like he's like in his 30s and he's
Mm-hmm.
never had his GED.
Mm,
He's like, it's just hard. Like, I only have to do the test at this point. I already have all my credits. I just need to do the exit exam. He's like, but it's hard.
mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and he's like, I just can't sit there and do the work. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you're right, because the school system is not made for you. Me and you, thank God, we were able to
Write it
get
out.
through it. You
Yeah.
know, because we can kind of do the work and like XYZ. But there's some like I feel like it's a lot of people have like they need to learn engagement. You learn that way. You learn by doing, and I learn the same
Doing.
way. But I can also like learn by like listening. you
Yeah,
know?
everybody. I think everybody learns different.
And
Like
I feel like the
everybody's
school
learning
system
experiences are
fails
different.
us because they need to.
It's this, and this is the only way you learn. Like I think it's gotten better. I think there's like, now we have this idea of IEPs, like IEPs are put in place. But even then, like it's just an idea put in place. Sometimes it's not even like there's no actual like
It's the what.
it's the yes.
It's remember we were talking about it's
Yes.
what they're doing.
What they're
Oh, we
doing.
have this and we have this, but how are
How
you
are you
doing it?
doing it? Like there's this
How?
thing right here. Like there's IEPs, and we understand, like, there's this
But
idea, of
how
course.
engaged is the person that's doing the
Right.
IEP? How engaged
Right.
are the teachers knowing this student has an
Needs
IEP?
the IEP.
How
Why?
how are they fixing the classroom so that the person who hasn't multiple people have IEPs?
Right.
So how is it that I'm making sure that I'm doing engagement and not just like textbook shit?
Yeah.
Because people, honestly, teachers become suits.
Yeah. Of course.
And it sucks. It sucks because that's why we don't learn a lot of the time.
Hmm.
My brother didn't go to college because he didn't learn that way.
That was in
You
his
know, my
preference
older
of
brother
learning. Yeah.
didn't, my cousins didn't, right? So I'm the one that was able to be like, okay, but I also have a lot of understanding as to why people don't learn that way, because I learned more not in a school place but in the workplace when I was really doing the movement, when I was and that's how I learned more. That's how I really took. And I think that's why with USC I'm making sure that I'm bringing that to it.
In there.
And it's like, why aren't we doing this? You know? And even if
Hmm.
I do push the agenda, fuck it. I'm paying a lot of fucking money to be
Right.
here. I'm about to speak my truth.
Right.
Cause I'm not gonna get out of here with nothing.
Right. But I think also, like, damn, I had something in the tip of my fucking head and it
The
just
tip
went
of your head?
away.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. Wait, okay, hold on. Rewind. What was the last thing you said? Because it was literally there and it was a really good thing I was gonna say, and it just like flew. Like I was like, what the
That's what
I
she said.
had it. I had it in my fucking head. What was the last thing you said, fool?
I was talking about
It was just teacher. I don't remember. But anyways, so yeah, I think you're.
we were talking about the school system and how not everybody learns in person and like in like the this is the curriculum and this is how you do it and da, 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 like, because even with me right now, right,
uh
for healing circles I had to create a curriculum. Did that curriculum go?
no.
No. Why? Because those babies do not learn with my idea of like, oh, so I had to bring in games. I had to bring in colorful shit. I had to bring in like more of my personality. I had to bring in more of my truth,
Right.
because then that's how they learned.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, miss, you're leaving." Yeah, homie, you didn't
Yeah.
want to.
Now I'm leaving now.
But in some way, I just knew that they weren't ready. Not all
Yeah.
of them were ready to learn with me, but the ones that were, I think, got the most out of it.
Hmm.
So I just think that that's what most people. But a lot of people are burnt out. A lot of teachers, a lot of healthcare providers, a lot of social provider, community providers, advocates are exhausted.
Hmm.
They're exhausted because they have to be so flexible, and then in that flexibility they need to be reflective. What did I do? What can I do better? How did this person learn? How did this person learn? And doing that reflection
Hmm.
really helps, but I don't think teachers have that time. And like you said, when we were students, we didn't really have the time to reflect on the things. We were just like trying to meet deadlines.
Deadlines,
And
literally. Try to
everybody's
meet
meet
deadlines.
social workers are trying to meet deadlines, case managers are trying to meet deadlines. So are the people working, or is the program working? And that's the difference between what you're doing versus how you're doing. And I think that's the difference. And in a lot of the school systems, like if LAUSD really thought about the how rather
Hmm.
than the what, make sure that they're
Hmm.
doing this. Make sure you go to their IEP. Make sure you go to their meeting. Make sure they're in tutoring. Make sure they're the what, the what, the what, the what, the what,
Hmm.
rather than the how.
Mhm.
Okay.
I also saw this thing, it was I think a while back I saw that it's like it was this whole idea of like the funding, like the whole funding. And I think a lot of it
Mm.
had like they say like, teachers don't get paid enough for the work that they do in the LA in the district, like the LAUSD district. And of course, obviously like LAUSD districts, like there's a lot going on. Like you have
Mhm.
kids that, go through all these things, and school sometimes isn't even a priority for them. So it's like, but also like because they're putting, and that's what I saw is that they were putting the funding was not, it's going to other places. The funding is going to other places, but it's not going to the places it needs to be.
Well, look at Lincoln. Lincoln.
Yeah.
How much shit we need at
You
Lincoln?
know what? You know what's so funny? I went and I always remember this. Always, like when I first started Lincoln, I was at Lima, right? And I was at Lima for a whole, like almost a whole year.
Rest in peace, Lima.
Rest, rest in peace, Lima.
God, God.
But I was there for a whole year. The whole year that probably is stood. I don't know how long I was there for. But anyways, so I was in Lima, and then my second year, my 10th grade year, I transferred to Lincoln. And then I went to Voice. But for whatever reason, they put me in an honors class. Yes,
Oh,
they put me in an honors class because they were just putting people in like different
I
classes.
had AP literature and AP econ
Yeah, and I was like,
in my senior year, and I'm like, I don't
I
belong
mean, I was
here.
proud. I was like, I told my dad, I told my mom, I was like, well, I'm in honors English. Like, I don't
Well,
know
I'm
how I'm
in
here, but
honors,
I'm in honors.
so I'm great. But honestly, for the type of work we did, like how much we just got done, people are like, oh yeah, you're worthy to be in this class compared to
Yeah.
our other students. But even then, you get put into these classes with these smart people.
But honestly, so I was put into this honors class, and I remember her name. It was Miss Blewett. Like I remember her because for the short amount of time that I was there, like I remember she really tried. Like she was really down. Like she was cool. I
Yeah.
know she was a bitch. I feel like, or I remember that she was like a bitch to some people or whatever. But
Hmm.
she was really good. Like, and I remember the students in the classes. And for a minute, I did feel like a little bit out of place because I felt like I don't know, like it's just they knew a lot. Like they knew about English and like essays and things like that.
Oh, bitch, tell
And
me
I
about
was
that
like,
shit.
I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
okay. And I remember that we would do essays and we would write and we would write. And I remember this one time we went to the library and she gave me my paper back, or something, it went down, something like that. And she told me, it was so crazy because she kneeled down and she told me, she goes, Ebony, she goes, you're writing, she goes, you write kind of ghetto. And she goes,
Mm,
yeah, she goes, but she said it may sound the way ugly, like the way she said it,
I get
but
it.
literally she said it like it felt genuine to the point where it's like she knew like it's not your fault though. It's not your
Wow.
fault. She goes, but it's because you write, like the way you write your essays was literally, I was writing words like gonna, ain't, isn't. Like I was writing tryna. Like
Fuck.
I was
And you
writing
know
words
what?
like that on my
That ex
essays.
that explain and one that I've never heard that story,
No, yeah,
but
you didn't.
it explains why when we were in college and we would do essays and my shit was run on sentences, ain't, don't, gotta, shit like that. And you're like, no. And you would fix it for me. You were the one that fixed the grammar.
No,
Cause you did that. And I think that she gave that to
she
you.
literally did. She literally did. And I was very
That's
grateful. Yeah, I was
beautiful.
very grateful for that because till this
Oh
day, like, I keep it with
wow.
me and I'm like, oh, like, if I wasn't put in this honors class and she would have never told me that, I went through whole Lima, a whole year. Like, I was just turning in work. Like, oh, okay, I was at a D. All right, let me just turn in work. And they passed me like that. Like, okay, you turned in the work here. All
But
right,
they weren't
cool.
checking at that
They
point. They
weren't
were just like,
checking.
got it, Ebony's.
Yeah,
Got it.
okay.
Got it. Got
Literally.
it. Got it.
Literally. So when I got put into this class and she told me and she literally was like, "But we're going to work on it. Like it's okay. We're going to work on it."
I love that.
Yeah, and I was like, "Okay." Like, it
Mm.
felt really good. And then it came to a point where this day happened and we noticed that she was really upset. Like she was really bothered, she was really upset, and we're trying to figure out like what's going on. And then it came down to the point where she let us know like she was being let go or she was leaving or something like that. Um And we're just confused. We're
Mm.
just like, well, what's going on? But I think it had to do something with like they didn't want to give her what she was asking for. Like, I don't know if it had to do with money wise or
She was
like
good.
because she was good and she wanted what she wanted, but she also didn't want to. I think she just didn't want to leave. Like, she really enjoyed being there,
Yeah.
but it came to the point where it was like, it's like me or this. It's like this tug of war type of thing.
Well, like when we left the center,
Yeah, it's like one of those
it's
things.
like
It's
the
like,
kids didn't want us to leave,
yeah,
but we had to go.
yeah, yeah. So I always remember that, and I'm like, oh, okay, so like, and I always
Wow.
kept that with me because it's like
That's crazy. You've never shared that with me.
I didn't, and I shared it with other like I remember I always share like that story with other, but I guess it never came across to where like we had that conversation and I shared it with you. But it was a really important moment to me because it was just like people were really just out here letting me do whatever, and it's like not allowing me to really like
I think
progress, and
I
it's
think that's
like
why we're friends.
yeah,
Because I don't just let you do whatever the fuck you want. I
yeah,
push you
like
to a limit where you're like, okay, I challenge you, and you said that a while
yeah,
ago. You
yeah,
challenge me, and I
yeah,
think that's why we work because you challenge me.
yeah,
And I think we stick to those people that really challenge us from a place of greatness,
right.
from a great place of like you want me to be better, just like
Mm-hmm.
Miss Crabtree when she taught me, just like Miss Barrett when she taught you, like
Blew it.
blue. Oh, Miss Blue.
It's okay.
Don't
Correct for her name.
don't be disrespecting the girl, the woman that gave me all the
And
things.
you know what the crazy part is, fool? That I recall, she was she was white. Yeah, she was white. So it's like, like, and then I think
But
that
she looked white. We don't even know
I
what she
don't know.
was.
I don't know, but she did look white. She was light
Yeah.
complected. She had blonde hair,
Hmm.
but she was really cool. Like she was really cool. And honestly, like, and I think that moment also, like, besides other moments, like, have to do why, like, going back to the idea of statistics and a number. Like, and I said to myself, like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be another number. Like,
Right.
I
Right.
don't
Right.
want to
Right.
be this other person that, oh, I grew up here and I did this and this was my life and that's why I talk like this. And I'm gonna just talk like this all the rest of my life, and I'm not gonna be able or learn how to
The
go back and
the
forth
code
with like the
switching. The
skill.
code switching.
Yeah, like, and now I can do that. I can
Fuck yeah.
be who I'm
Fuck
gonna
yeah.
be, and then also like pick up the phone and be like, "Hello, good morning. This is
Hey,
Ebony."
buenos dias.
Yeah, or use my whole Spanish language and be like and sound like a whole different person.
Exactly. I think that code switching is so needed, but also the underneath the code switching, there's this authenticness of it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think that even now with introducing my name is Silvia.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm
Mhm.
still getting to used to it, but my name is Silvia.
Right.
My name is not Sylvia, but I say it that way because someone
That's what
changed
you.
my
That's a
name.
learn. It's
Someone
learned.
changed my name to Sylvia. My name has always been Silvia. You know what I mean? And your name is Ebony. You
Ebony.
know?
And a lot, and I was telling you this, and a lot of times it's funny. It's not funny, but like it's crazy because for you, like Silvia is it's obviously coming from
Culture.
yeah, from culture, right? And then for me, Ebony, when I introduce it to families or people who are only Spanish speaking, they changed my name
To
like to
Evelyn.
Evelyn, Emily, what's the other one? There's another one that they switch it up to, and I'm like, and sometimes I'll tell them like, no, Ebony, Ebony, like you could just say Ebony, but sometimes I won't, like because I also know it's a barrier for them, and it's not like I'm not gonna be like, no, it's
Well,
Ebony,
well,
it's Ebony,
my mom
you
used to call
know,
you Emily,
Emily, yeah,
and
like
I'd be like, no, se llama Ebony.
yeah, and it happens and it's not a big deal. Like it's not anything crazy to me. And I think it's specific situations though, because sometimes like there's certain like people who I feel like won't say it or they don't say it correctly on purpose, and I'll be like, no, it's Ebony
That's what
or
happened in USC though.
Ebony, and as like I get Ebony or
Ebonics.
Ebony, Ebony, and I'm like, no, Ebony, Ebony, like
Oh,
it's Ebony.
there's this guy. He was so cute. His name was I don't know his name.
I just thought he was cute.
But anyways, he would call me Salvia, and it pissed me off.
Salvia.
Salvia, and I'm like, no, my name is Silvia. Whatever. But anyways, I hate when people say my name wrong, or they spell
Yeah,
my name with the C.
with a Y.
If they spell my name Sylvia, I'm hot. Don't be
No,
lying.
SI. And a lot of people do that. And honestly, my mom would sometimes put it like, and I'm like, no, it's with an I.
Literally, but
Come correct or
come
don't come at all.
come correct with my name.
Nah, but it's true. I think the
The
school system,
authenticity is what is missing in school.
yeah,
The people like Miss Crabtree,
yeah, for
Miss
sure.
Blue,
Miss Blew it.
Miss Blewett.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we
And we
need
did
those
have a
people,
few. We did have a few that were
and those are the
authentic.
people that shaped us.
Yeah.
Because now we get to hold spaces like USC. We get to hold spaces like the careers we have, you know, and we
Mhm.
get to, and people get to see us and be like, man,
Yeah, and I think that's our goal, like, and I feel like that's what we want to do is make that change, or try to make that change, and like it's okay. And I think that's why Tupac is a very big figure for us,
oh
cuz he's
yeah,
like, he's just out there doing his, like, this is him, but he was also, he was hood, but he was intelligent, and he was just him. Like, authentically him, making or trying to, do the best that he can to put out there what he knew, and like, what's the word? I don't want to say make the change, but obviously people's
spark.
spark a change. Yes, spark a change, and in
Or
his
see
way.
someone's light, see
Yeah.
someone's light, because sometimes if you're light, someone else would just be like pick up, like when you said, like when I started doing my own like healing, you were suddenly like, well, if she can, why can I?
Right.
And it's that healing that sparked in
Mhm.
you, and it's that healing that Miss
Blew it.
Blue it gave Miss Blue it gave to you, and Miss Crabtree gave to me, you know.
Yeah.
And I think there's other people that like helped support us in this journey, but I think those are the people, those are the reminders to keep
Yeah.
going. And I
Yeah.
got that at USC that day. Like I just got a lot of reminders. But in life, when we look at it in the bigger picture, we're always getting these like little reminders of like, keep going. You're doing good.
Yeah.
Keep
It was
growing.
it was really, honestly, it was those professors and it was those teachers who like really tapped into us, and like although it was hard for them, like they genuinely did care.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
they genuinely did care
And they
because
saw something in
they saw,
us.
yeah, like
Just like when we
also
see something in our kids that are like bad, that
literally.
they're really bad, but they're like, ah, but he's
But I
cool, but they're
know,
good, they're
literally. And
fun.
that's literally how I feel like with those teachers, because it was like I said, yes, it was Blue, it was Capture. It was I also remember
Zapata.
Cardoza. Like, and also there was just other ones, like, it was just really good. Like, you knew your teachers that were like, all right, like, they're cool. Like, these are the ones. And even sometimes they let you ditch in those classes, but they also knew, like, all
Yeah.
right, like, I'll give you some time or
And
whatever,
I think, that's what's needed, and I think that that's all they could
Yeah.
do for us at the time.
Yeah.
And I
But we
think,
did it,
now
ditching
that
and whatever,
we're
we're
the
still
next
here.
generation of them,
Yeah.
so we get to do a little bit more, you know. And so I'm just really thankful for, although LAUSD kind of fucked us over, they
But
also
it's needed.
they
It
also gave
was,
us a great gift.
yeah, not that okay, maybe not it was needed, but obviously there was a purpose. Like, we had to
Because we had to
go.
see all the ugly, and then we had to
Yeah.
find that one gem.
It made us. It's an
Yeah, that's a really
experience,
good
like,
perspective, friend.
yeah, it's made us, like, we're here now. Like, we did the best that we can, and we're still doing the best that we can with what we know and what we learned, and we're just going to continue it and obviously make the best out of it. Like,
Yeah, and take it day by day and stay
yeah.
present, and just continue that way, because I think that that intention, that how, and now we know it. Now we know the
Mhm.
how. The how,
Mhm.
the intention, as to when we go into meetings, when we talk to people, when we talk to each other, there's an intention, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm. For sure. So, shout out LAUSD.
Shout out LASD, shout out Cal State LA,
Shout out Lincoln.
shout out Lincoln.
Shout
But
out all the schools we went
shout out the
to.
Dodger game.
Yes, we'll be there. Catch us there.
But I think we'll leave it there, amiga.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. I think we touched on a lot of things today.
Mhm.
We touched on the schools, what schools we went to, how schools shaped us. What else? Our college experiences, the professors we had, the teachers we had,
Some fine ass man.
the ones we will see. going to our excitement to go to Dodger
Oh
games.
fuck yeah.
Fresh ass shoes. Damn. Shout out the Vans.
To live and die in LA, I'll see you there.
Right. That's our next stop.
We talked about code switching too.
Yeah, we did talk
We
about
talked about how
code
important that
switching.
is.
Yeah, that's a very good topic. It's a very good needed skill.
Oh yeah.
For sure. We talked about the different topics in school, the white history in school.
Yeah.
We didn't really get to at least I didn't have a Chicano studies class. Did you have it?
Nah.
We had a Chicano studies class, but I didn't
in
have it.
college.
No, but there was actually I think a Chicano
Oh, no, I didn't
studies
know. But yeah.
with Mr. Lincoln.
Yeah, shout out to all the white history books. I hope they all get burned. There was this girl at the USC thing last thing. There was a girl and she's like, "What do you want to do as a private in the private sector?" She's like, "I want to take all the white people's money and give it back to the communities." And I'm
That's
like,
what's
"Fuck
up!
yeah!"
Come join our friendship here.
Yeah.
Cause I fuck with that.
But shout out to that. The USC was really great. But I think we'll leave it there, amiga.
Yeah.
Follow us on H&H Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. We're also on YouTube. You can listen to us on Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you all listen to your podcast. Shout out to Jordan and JC for the artwork, and Jordan for creating this.
Right. Shout out Productive Culture.
Shout out if you guys want to start a podcast, please.
Come through.
Yeah. This is the place to be.
Right.
And that's it.
That's
Shout out
it.
our friendship.
Yeah. Shout out that for sure.
Wouldn't do it
And
without you.
You are nothing without me. I am nothing without you. I should be a singer.
Who sings that song? Who sings that song? Oh. I was about to say, let them sing it.
That's fucked up. Anyways, thank you everyone.
Bye.
Stay tuned in. Bye.